The morning was calm, the sun rising over a peaceful earth. People went about their daily lives unaware of the catastrophe about to unfold in the skies above. Without warning, the quiet was shattered as a massive fleet of alien ships appeared, blocking out the sun. They were the Vornax, an alien species known throughout the galaxy as the apex predators. Towering, menacing, and technologically advanced, the Vornax had conquered countless worlds. They had never met an enemy they couldn't defeat, and Earth was just another planet waiting to fall under their iron grip. Their fleet hovered in the atmosphere like a dark, oppressive cloud, casting a shadow over cities below. Thousands of ships, massive beyond imagination, lit up the sky with terrifying displays of power. One by one, they began launching their devastating orbital bombardment. Cities across the world were hit with laser strikes, each blast obliterating entire blocks, reducing towering skyscrapers to rubble. The air crackled with energy as the Vornax made their presence known to Earth. They were here and nothing could stop them. Humanity's fate seemed sealed. The Vornax were too powerful, too advanced. Earth's government scrambled, sending out desperate messages for help, but the aliens paid no attention. They believed humanity was weak, primitive, and unprepared for this kind of war. The world seemed helpless under the overwhelming power of the Vornax. But deep beneath the surface, something was stirring. In secret underground bunkers and military bases, the human resistance was quietly preparing for this very moment. Unknown to the Vornax, Earth had spent decades building a hidden arsenal of advanced technologies, weapons, and defenses, all waiting for the day the aliens would come. Humanity was not as defenseless as the Vornax thought. Among the soldiers preparing for battle was Commander Eric Bonner. A man of few words but great resolve, Bonner had trained for this day his entire life. His team was assembling in the command center, gathering around large holographic maps that displayed the movements of the Vornax ships above. Their faces were tense, knowing the odds they were up against. The Vornax had already wiped out entire cities with their orbital bombardment, and the human army was outnumbered, under-equipped, and outgunned. But Bonner's belief was unwavering. As he watched the holographic screens, he turned to his team with one simple thought: they don't know us yet. Bonner was not foolish enough to believe they could defeat the Vornax with conventional methods. No, Earth's chance of survival was not in brute strength or firepower, but in a surprise. Humanity had developed cloaking devices that could make entire fleets invisible to the enemy's advanced sensors. Hidden AI systems, designed to mimic and outsmart the most sophisticated alien tactics, were ready to be deployed. And there were warships. Massive, technologically advanced ships that had been kept secret for years, hidden beneath the ocean's surface. Just as the Vornax launched their second wave of destruction, something incredible happened. The human resistance activated their cloaking devices. Suddenly, entire fleets of warships appeared out of thin air, emerging from beneath the waves. The Vornax had no idea they were there. With their sensors fooled, they had underestimated humanity's preparedness. For the first time since the attack began, the Vornax felt something they were not familiar with: surprise. Human ships, sleek and deadly, unleashed their first strike against the Vornax fleet. Energy beams cut through the sky, and the massive alien ships were suddenly under fire from all directions. The Vornax commanders were stunned. They had assumed Earth's forces would be easy to crush, but they were wrong. Human soldiers, armed with high-tech weapons and enhanced by AI support, launched a coordinated counterattack. The aliens tried to retaliate, but it was too late. The humans had already taken the offensive, striking first with precision and power. The Vornax were thrown into chaos. They tried to regroup and counterattack, but it was clear they had underestimated their opponents. This was not the quick, easy victory they had planned for. The humans were not just fighting back, they were fighting smart, using technology and tactics the Vornax had never encountered before. Commander Bonner stood in the heart of the action, watching as his forces, against all odds, began to strike down the mighty Vornax warships. The tides of battle had shifted, and the Vornax now realized something crucial. Earth was not the helpless planet they thought it was. Humanity had been preparing for this day, and now the Vornax were about to face the full force of Earth's hidden power. As Bonner observed the chaos unfolding on the battlefield, he knew this was only the beginning. The fight would be long, and it would come at a great cost. But one thing was certain, the Vornax would regret ever underestimating humanity. And in that moment, the first spark of hope ignited across the planet. The Vornax had expected an easy conquest. Their massive fleet, brimming with advanced technology, descended upon Earth like a storm. They believed that humanity's defenses would crumble before their might, but they were gravely mistaken. As the first wave of Vornax ships moved into Earth's atmosphere, they were greeted by an unexpected resistance. Hidden deep beneath the surface of the planet, Earth's forces had been preparing for this day for years. Humanity's fleet, though smaller in number, was faster, more agile, and far more clever than the Vornax had anticipated. Human warships, equipped with advanced cloaking technology, suddenly appeared out of nowhere, catching the invaders completely off guard. The human fighters, guided by AI-enhanced systems, launched a flurry of attacks. They used drones to scout and strike with precision, hitting weak spots on the Vornax ships that the aliens never saw coming. The first few strikes were devastating. Human technology, once thought primitive, was now on full display as it outwitted the aliens at every turn. In the skies, the battle intensified. One of Earth's bravest fighter pilots, Captain Ryan Ford, led the charge. His ship, equipped with cloaking devices, darted and weaved through the Vornax fire, evading lasers and missile blasts. Ford flipped his fighter through impossible maneuvers, narrowly avoiding a direct hit as a Vornax laser sliced through the air behind him. He dodged, accelerated, and fired, taking down a Vornax fighter with a well-placed shot. The humans were fast, unpredictable, and hitting hard. On the ground, the Vornax soldiers were visibly shaken. They had never encountered such resistance. Their superior tech, their overwhelming firepower, was being outsmarted at every turn. The humans had turned the tide, using surprise and tactics that the Vornax weren't prepared for. But the price of victory came at a heavy cost. Commander Eric Bonner, watching from the command center, saw his soldiers engaging in fierce firefights with the Vornax ground forces. His heart raced as he saw one of his closest friends, Lieutenant Dave Harris, take a fatal shot during a skirmish. Bonner's world seemed to freeze for a moment as he watched his friend fall, his blood staining the ground. The loss was unbearable, but it also fueled Bonner's rage. He clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the loss, but his resolve hardened. He would not let Harris's death be in vain. The Vornax had made a grave mistake by underestimating humanity, and now they would pay the price. With a fierce determination burning in his chest, Bonner rallied his troops. "We fight for Earth," he said, his voice filled with a new kind of fire. "We fight for our fallen." The humans had taken the first step in reclaiming their planet. It would not be easy, and the cost would be high. But one thing was clear. The Vornax were in for the fight of their lives. The humans' surprise counterattack had thrown the Vornax into disarray, but now the aliens were beginning to adapt. Realizing that humanity was far more dangerous than they had initially thought, the Vornax changed their tactics. They were no longer confident in their easy victory. Instead, they unleashed their terrifying war machines, massive, heavily armored behemoths designed to crush anything in their path. These mechanical giants began to roll through the ruined cities, laying waste to everything in their way. The Vornax believed these monstrosities would easily wipe out the human resistance, but they had underestimated humanity's spirit. Even though the humans' technology was advanced, they still faced overwhelming odds. The Vornax vastly outnumbered them, and their weapons were much more powerful. However, the humans refused to back down. The streets of Earth had turned into battlegrounds as human soldiers, armed with powerful energy rifles and AI-assisted drones, fought the Vornax forces in ruined cities. The air was thick with smoke and the constant sound of explosions. Buildings collapsed, sending debris flying, while robots and drones worked alongside human soldiers, providing support and intelligence. Despite their technological advantages, the Vornax were relentless in their assault, capturing key locations and pushing humanity back. The Vornax soldiers were brutal, their every move calculated to crush the resistance. But the humans weren't done yet. With limited resources, they turned to guerrilla tactics. They planted bombs in strategic locations, ambushed Vornax patrols, and used the terrain to their advantage, hiding in the rubble of their shattered cities. The Vornax, arrogantly thinking that their victory was inevitable, laughed off the humans' efforts. They believed it was just a matter of time before they wiped out every last one of the resistance. But they hadn't counted on the human will to survive. Time and time again, humanity fought back with ingenuity and determination, even when the odds seemed impossible. The battle reached a critical point when Commander Bonner and his remaining team made a desperate decision. They would launch a raid on a heavily guarded Vornax supply ship. The ship was key to the aliens' war effort, and if they could sabotage it, they would cripple the Vornax advance. The mission was dangerous, and the chances of survival were slim. But Bonner knew they had no choice. The team set out on their covert operation, sneaking past enemy lines and infiltrating the ship's defenses. The raid was intense. Human soldiers moved swiftly through the shadows, planting explosives and sabotaging key systems. The Vornax, realizing too late that they were under attack, fought back fiercely. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but they kept pushing forward. However, the cost was high. Many soldiers were lost during the raid, and Bonner himself barely escaped with his life. As they limped back to their base, the surviving soldiers understood something important. They were not defeated. The Vornax had underestimated them, and now the tide was turning. With the sabotage of the supply ship, the aliens had lost a crucial resource, and humanity had gained a powerful victory. But Bonner knew the truth. This war wasn't over. The Vornax would come back stronger, and humanity would have to be willing to sacrifice everything if they wanted to win. The stakes had never been higher, and now humanity had no choice but to push forward. There was no turning back. The battle for Earth had become a fight for survival, and the final outcome would be determined by how much the humans were willing to give up. The battle for Earth had reached its most critical point. Earth's defenses were nearly shattered, with the Vornax relentless in their attacks. The cities were in ruins, and humanity's remaining forces were scattered. Commander Bonner knew this could be their final stand. The last hope for Earth lay in a daring assault against the Vornax flagship, a colossal warship hovering above the planet, surrounded by an impenetrable fleet. The Vornax commander believed victory was inevitable, sure that humanity's resistance was almost gone. However, Bonner's team had one last desperate move left. As the human fleet made its way toward the flagship, space seemed to crackle with energy. Lasers and missiles lit up the dark expanse of space, leaving fiery trails as they collided with enemy ships. The human fleet was outmatched and outnumbered, but they fought with an intensity and precision that caught the Vornax off guard. Explosions erupted across the battlefield, shaking the very fabric of space. Each ship in humanity's last fleet was equipped with a powerful weapon capable of disabling the entire Vornax armada. This weapon wasn't new. It was based on ancient human technology, an AI system that had been lost to time, but now held the key to their survival. The AI, designed to understand and replicate human emotions, had never been used in battle before. It was a risky, unpredictable weapon, but it was humanity's last chance. The fleet moved with incredible speed, dodging Vornax fire and taking down enemy ships with unparalleled accuracy. Each fighter pilot knew this would be the fight of their lives, and they gave it everything they had. Bonner, leading a small team of elite soldiers, knew that their mission was even more dangerous. They needed to board the Vornax flagship and plant the weapon that would disrupt the entire alien fleet. Using cloaking devices, they infiltrated the enemy ship unnoticed. The tension was thick as they made their way through the dark corridors, ready for the fight ahead. Inside the Vornax flagship, a brutal battle erupted. Human soldiers fought viciously, using every ounce of training and skill to overpower the heavily armed alien forces. Bonner's heart raced as he and his team fought their way deeper into the ship. Time was running out. They had to plant the weapon before the Vornax could stop them. Then, the Vornax captain confronted Bonner. The two leaders locked eyes, both determined to win at any cost. The Vornax captain was larger, stronger, and fueled by a brutal, logical mind, while Bonner fought with pure willpower and a deep sense of humanity's survival. Just as it seemed like Bonner's team might be overwhelmed, something extraordinary happened. The ancient AI activated. In an instant, the AI used its understanding of human emotions, fear, hope, love, and anger to push back against the Vornax forces. It turned the tide of the battle, using human instinct and creativity to outsmart the Vornax. The flagship systems began to malfunction, and the once unstoppable Vornax forces faltered. The human soldiers pressed forward, driven by the belief that they could still win. In that climactic moment, Commander Bonner stood face to face with the Vornak's captain, and for the first time in the entire war, the Vornaks were not the predators. They were the prey. The unexpected power of human emotion, combined with their sheer determination, had shifted the battle in their favor. With one final push, the weapon was planted, and the Vornak's flagship began to crumble. The tide of the war was about to turn. Humanity had fought back, and for the first time, they had won. The final moments of the battle were surreal. The once unstoppable Vornak's fleet, with its massive warships and advanced technology, lay motionless in the black expanse of space. The ships, crippled by the ancient AI weapon, were rendered useless. The Vornak's commander, humiliated and broken, stood aboard his flagship, realizing the full scale of their defeat. His once proud fleet, now scattered and disabled, had been outsmarted by the very species they had underestimated. The commander's orders were clear: retreat. They had come to conquer, but instead they were running in shame from a species they thought beneath them. Commander Bonner stood at the center of the battlefield, his heart heavy with the weight of the victory. His team had sacrificed so much to get here. His close friend, Sergeant Keller, lay among the fallen, and the other soldiers who had fought bravely were now nothing more than memories. As Bonner looked over the remains of his comrades, the cost of the war became painfully clear. The battle had been brutal, and the loss of so many lives would never be forgotten. But humanity had triumphed. They had faced an enemy far stronger than themselves, and against all odds, they had proven that they were not a species to be reckoned with. As the Vornak ships retreated into the stars, Bonner couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweet victory. Earth had survived, but the scars of the war would remain. He looked to the horizon as the sun began to rise, casting a golden light over the battlefield. The world had been changed forever, but one thing was certain: humanity would not bow to anyone, not even the most powerful predators in the galaxy. Bonner took a deep breath, standing tall among the ruins. The universe had watched as Earth stood its ground, and the message was clear: humanity was a force to be reckoned with. There was no going back now. As the last of the Vornak's ships faded from view, a new era began. But the story was far from over. The Vornaks had been defeated, but the universe was vast, and many more challenges awaited humanity. The victory over the Vornaks had united the world, but it was only the beginning. Humanity had proved it could survive, but the true test would be what came next. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with more dangers, more enemies, but Bonner knew one thing: Earth was ready. The apex predators of the galaxy had been put on notice. The real battle had just begun.